consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your Soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Happy New Year, my loves. This is the first episode of January or 2023. Oh my goodness. Who else has been making that mistake of still putting 22? I've been making the mistake of putting December instead of January. So I don't know about you, my loves, but like in this last bit, because normally January is like, yeah, like let's go, let's do this kind of energy for a lot of us. And I've been feeling quite the opposite. And I know that some of my people, my friends, my clients have been feeling that way too. It's just, I'm not follower like Mercury Retrograde very much. I don't know. I don't feel like it affects me that much, but who knows? I feel like this for me it's just been a very internal state in the last, I feel like since really like the beginning of December, just like winding down, coming home to myself at that level of even deeper depth of really wanting stillness, not doing a lot of socializing, if you can believe that. Those of you who know me, I'm like extreme extrovert. And this whole year, last year, has been a beautiful journey as I had completed my second year as a shamanic practitioner in just being more in stillness. And I know that spirit has led me to be where I am today, here out in Lake Country as I'm recording this live here. I'm looking out my window and it's the waterfront, Wood Lake in the Okanagan and the mountains. It's so beautiful. And I know that even so those of you who don't know me, a little bit of background, I'm originally from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And we turned our home into an Airbnb early last year and then moved out here to Kelowna, British Columbia. Loved it. We lived downtown, stayed in a penthouse with the Okanagan Lake and the mountains as our view. It was incredible. But having two young boys, you can't just toss them outside downtown Kelowna. And we live in suburbia back in Edmonton where there's always kids outside in the cul-de-sac. And so this was, that was I feel like the biggest challenge, but also just incredible to live downtown in Kelowna. And as I just really got more intuitive, I really feel like I became that next level version myself, opened new levels of intuition. I needed more stillness. And so I remember Dan and I were sitting in a restaurant on our date and said, hey, do we want to stay here? Where do we want to go next? Because we're renting Airbnb. And for us, it was really about let's continue living here. So we called it in and exactly what we wanted, the kind of house, how many rooms, definitely a backyard. And the next day, Spirit gifted us everything and better. Cheaper rent, not just the backyard, but the waterfront. This is just the power of really calling things in. And so I kind of laugh because we live right beside farmland, and you guys know me, I'm a big city girl, and I would not have been able to make this move directly from Edmonton, which is a bigger city, to a small little, I'll just call it a little town because that's what it feels like. I think there's 9,100 people here, though. It doesn't feel like it. So anyway, that's a little bit about where I am at. And just even if you're watching, if you're here live, say hello. Thank you. I see there are some people live. And I just, don't even have my eyelashes on. I'm a little bit more in my appearance toned down. And that's just, it feels too noisy. Everything feels too noisy. And if you can resonate with this, let me know. And that's all totally okay. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh my God, I'm not doing this and beating yourself up. Like I definitely know that I would used to do that, and rather than honor my feelings and where I'm at. And it's really important, more than anything, honor your feelings. So hi, Jenna. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot for being here. So today I wanted to really kick off this year with really reflecting on and then sharing, of course, my lessons through the years on my coaching business. Now it's been 6 years. I looked back at my receipt of when I first hired my first business coach, and it was August, I even wrote it down, August 15th, 2016. And this was, I am so grateful when I look back at everything. I would not change a thing. I always say my best lessons, my biggest lessons come very expensively, whether it's financially and or emotionally, but I would not change that, because I would not be who I am today and be where I am in my life and my business. I honestly can say that I feel the most relaxed I've ever been within myself. First and foremost, because I'm all about be, do, and have. My pain turned to my purpose is I really used to believe unconsciously that my value was in my doingness. So, all those societal success were checks off, and I felt empty inside. So, when I started to come home to myself, this would have been the start of my journey, was in 2008. When I got into bodybuilding for all the wrong reasons, and my life looked completely perfect on the outside. That day I came in last place, and that was one of the greatest gifts ever, because that led to a breakdown, which we all know is a breakthrough. And so my purpose today is really help others be, do, and have, be who you are, boldly and unapologetic. And what that really means is being authentic and putting yourself out there, risking disapproval, but really speaking to your people and creating life and business from who you authentically are, so that you can have all your desires. And so, really embodying this has really, in these past 6 years, particularly my coaching business, I was a psychologist. And I'll talk a little bit about that journey, for 11 years in private practice prior to that. And, it's like I am the most relaxed in my business that I've ever been. Most relaxed in operating and holding this much space, capacity, these many clients. Wow, like it's been so beautiful and so grateful. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, to those of you who have been part of my and continue to be part of my community. Thank you to every single person that's ever believed in me, that's ever been triggered by me, because that gives the mirrors for, even me to reflect on, well, okay, because I take radical personal and spiritual responsibility. Are you being triggered because it's your stuff, or are you being triggered because I'm actually doing something that's hurting you, right? And that's really important to recognize, and then course correct. And thank you so much to those who invest with me and have invested with me. Like, I wouldn't be here in my business without this beautiful this beautiful community. Thank you to those of you who invest your energy and your time with me. Thank you. And I see that two of my soulmate clients are here. Hi, Cindy. Cindy's been with me for about 2 years now, and just so beautiful. Watch my clients grow, and of course our friendship grows, and I just deeply love my clients. I'm in a place where when I fuck up, my clients don't blame. They're like, we'll call each other out, sort of thing, but like with so much love, and there's so much grace, and it's like there's so much repair, and it's so beautiful, because we're all human, and it's beautiful, and how that trust is so there. I can see the quality of my clients over the years have been, because I'm I work myself. And so that energy and capacity just starts to call in more of the clients that are in the same frequency. And my clients that have been with me for a while also increase their capacity, right? And I'm just part of that alchemy. I'm not saying I'm the direct reason, right? That absolutely not. That would be so ego. My clients do their own work. They are powerful in their own gifts and strengths and passions and who they are and their communities. And so I'm just blessed and grateful to be part of that. So, so amazing. So let's start from the beginning in year one. And why I want to share this with you is I want you to, as you're hearing my story of these, me going through my business in the last 6 years, I'm going to really emphasize some of these lessons, and I encourage you to save this episode, write down, take notes. I want to save you, not save you. Sorry, let me correct that. I'm not here to be a savior. I have to say I have that savior complex. I think most of us who are coaches and healers do, right? So I don't mean that. Just reframe that. I want you to take these lessons and apply it to your life so that you do not make the same mistakes. Okay. So you're responsible for you. Okay. So how you receive this information, you're going to receive it. Each one of you are going to receive it in really different ways, depending on how your context in your life. It's really interesting when I share content marketing. And even yesterday I had a post about not doing trades, which I'm going to talk about later today, if you want to increase your energetic capacity and your income. And it's been really powerful because I knew this would be a controversial post, looking at the responses, and also beautiful. There's no right or wrong. And I look at each person and I can see I am definitely not, here's the thing, I don't speak to everybody, right? There's a certain context of a client that I'm speaking to, but the people that respond, they're not that client. So it doesn't resonate with them the same way it would with my ideal client. So I love, love, love that. And so, what I'm trying to say is, when I'm speaking, it's going to land differently for each person here. Okay. So I want you to really put yourself in the years and in that I'm going through and the lessons, and just take it as an opportunity for you to reflect on you and where you're at, and if this feels true for you or not, or somewhat true, and how that lands for you. With my clients, I'm always take what resonates, tweak what doesn't. I do that with my business coach too. I'm I love what you're teaching me. I love what you're coaching me on. Taking that lesson, right? And then looking at, how do I embody this? How do I, because I really resonate with this concept or whatever it might be. And how do I, in my own alchemy of Rosalyn, and how do you, in your own alchemy of you, apply it in your life, in your business? That's what matters more. Okay. So this isn't a heady thing of, oh, well, I don't agree with you, or I totally agree with you. This is not about that. That's not an ego level thing. This is how do we really take this in? Hello, Shannon. So good to see you. Another one of my beautiful soulmate clients. Okay. So year one. I'm going to say congratulations to those of you who have listened to that dream inside you and have dared to birth it into the world, because that is the first step. My friend Corey Poirier and I talk about how one of the richest places in, I think it was originally from Les Brown, right? Who said the richest place in the world is the graveyard, because so many of us die with our dreams still inside us. And so congratulations to those of you who have taken that first step. And you never know who you're impacting. Okay, you never know. In that first year, that was where I really had to bet on myself and go all in. I knew I became the first psychologist in 2015 in my province to create an online program, which was so much freaking red tape, so much. Those of you who are in the field, you know that. And I figured it out legally and ethically. And And so fast forward, Spirit opened more doors. I was actually not very woo back then. I was just like, okay, this feeling, this excitement, this experience I'm having inside, like, oh, something's happening. Oh, I'm going to just follow that. But trust me, the ego was like, the fear was like, oh, how do I do this? So I would say the best thing I did was invest in a business coach. That was one of the best things after making my decision. Okay, that's the best thing. And then the next best thing was, let's hire a coach, because I'm not going to friggin' try to figure out how to do this when I actually just don't know what I don't know about building a business, a coaching business. At this point in my life, I had, like I said, 11 years, at that point it was 10 years in private practice, and very successful, but like definitely trials and tribulations growing that on my own, right? And taking those lessons of growing a successful private practice, and I never actually have worked full time. It's good money as a psychologist. It is dollars per hours, and then I scaled it with group therapy programs. At the time, I specialized in food and body image, because you learn what you need to teach and then get certified in it. And just really, really serving at that level of group and one-on-one. Loved it, and just felt so called now from a place of service, from a place of purpose and soul. Like I want to put something bigger out there. And that's where the online program was birthed. Now, at this time, I also had a speaking coach. So that was actually officially my first coach. I hired her during my mat leave, because, as a businesswoman, what else are you going to do when you're nursing? I'm watching webinars. And so I hired a coach to help me learn how to speak and sell as a psychologist. So that was also revolutionary. And that's how I became very successful as a go-to psychologist in food and body image in my city of Edmonton. And lots of collaborations, right? Speaking at yoga studios, collabs with holistic nutritionists, anybody that really had the same kind of clients, but we had complementary services. And that's also what I've learned. Write that down. Collaborations, aligned collaborations is really, really important, right? Authentic relationships. I will never change that. It's been authentic relationships. Being authentic and building authentic relationships has been the success of my business all these years as a psychologist and as a coach. And so, that first year though, so I invested $30,000 into my new business coach, who helps me start a self-love coaching business. Oh my God, you guys, it was so scary. I mean, that's the price of a car, right? And so that first year was very much about, it's not so much about business, it was more about mindset. And that is one thing I really notice is when we are first starting our business, yes, it's understanding those structures and the systems and all of that and how you operate a business, but holy shit, can I tell you, like, it is all about shifting your beliefs and mindset. And I see that in my clients too in their first year. It's like a lot of mindset work, a lot of belief shifting work. Okay, so the inner subconscious beliefs. So I do that as well as a business coach. I'm not your typical business coach, right? So bring in all my psychology and my somatic healing approaches and multidimensional and shamanic practitioner. Of course, I open the records. We're in them right now as I open them before this show. And back then, though, I didn't have any of that. I had Reiki as a self-love coach, okay, and somatic healing, so Haikomi, which means how do I stand in relationship with myself and how do I stand in relationship with others? And it was Haikomi that changed my own life when I had a breakdown to a breakthrough. So very powerful somatic work that really focuses on developmental trauma, which are all the inner child stuff, right, and traumas. So some of the things I had to work through, my limiting beliefs were, well, who the heck would work with me? Who would actually pay me as a self-love coach when they can go just see a psychologist who's covered under benefits, by the way? Okay, so we had to work through a lot of money stuff, a lot of understanding. For me, it's very, and I actually work with clients who are in the medical professional world too. So mental health therapists, massage therapists, and they're going into the coaching world because a lot of my clients who are massage therapists are very multidimensional, have Reiki, have subconscious imprinting, different modalities that are more in the mind spirit world as well. So they're combining this. And so it's like sometimes like when you're so identified with a certain profession for so long. So for me, it was psychologist. I couldn't understand how to tweak that apart so that was more clear until for me, it helps me understand that legally, so energetically it's different, but legally it's also actually different. So as a therapist, I'm responsible for my clients. And you kind of see how that sets us up for to be saviors. Oh my gosh. Shannon, I know you can understand coming from a social work background. And also a lot of my clients are social workers with a like that background as well, and multidimensional in other ways. So I think that's why people get attracted to work with me, because of some of their backgrounds, and also taking that leap of faith. That's a huge story and a huge theme, right? I get it. And so the other thing that really had to tweak, or sort of legally, like with coaching, clients are responsible for themselves. So it really, really emphasizes that radical personal accountability. So a very different energy to begin with. Okay. But it took me a long time to unpack that sense of still lots of ego. I'm a psychologist. My whole identity was a psychologist. So like really seeing, no, I'm actually not a psychologist, and I'm not a coach. I'm not my titles. Like you guys, if you have seen me and been following me for last 6 years, you would have seen I've changed my title probably every year. Okay, like I'm serious. So this is why I'm just like, 3D world. Okay, we need a title of some sort, right? But really, what's more important is that you are embodied in your why. At the end of the day, you're embodied in your why. You're creating content with your why. You're showing up in your purpose, right? And people feel that. People feel that because you're operating and fueled from that passion and of your purpose. And so, what else? So I'm looking at my notes here because I want to make sure I stay on track here. Oh, another belief I had to work through. This is huge. This is like the golden handcuffs, right? I make really good money. I was making over 6 figures, right? High 6 figures, working part-time as a therapist, as a psychologist. And do I really want to start all over again? Right? Like, I loved being a psychologist. In fact, like I said, to this day, I still use all those tools. It informs me, and it's the foundation of everything as a coach. But what I realized is it was holding me back from my fullest self-expression. In Canada, it's very different than in the United States. I've learned to be a psychologist. The regulations are not as strict in the States, where in Canada, it's very, very restrictive. And so I noticed that I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to only work with I don't want to be limited in who I want to work with and who wants to work with me. Right. Because at this point in time, people were reaching out. I had a magazine cover. I've been already speaking internationally, and just like people were reaching out to work with me. And I'm like, I can't. So that didn't feel right for me. And so I was in this internal conflictual place. And so I really had to work through a lot of that. You know what? It's money, but it's not that money's not everything. Okay. So this is really important. Money's not everything. Money is important. I remember I would be like, oh, it's not that important. Yes, money is important. Okay. It's a tool. It's an energy. It's important. And it's a beautiful energetic exchange, right? Of you in this context of with you sharing your gifts, and somebody's really like giving that energetic exchange of money. We need money to live. And now I know somebody might be like, well, I live in a self-sustaining society. Great. That's where you can do trades and things like that, and you don't need money, right? That's amazing. I think I've never been to Burning Man, but I think it's kind of like a similar concept around. Maybe it's not even trades, but it doesn't matter. That's not who I'm talking to. Okay, I'm talking to most of us who operate. Need to pay our bills, need to, feed ourselves, put food on the table for our families, things, people like that. Okay, so most of us. So, it really is looking at, okay, what if I fail? Am I really willing to start again? I'm responsible. I'm a provider for my family of 2 young kids. Um, is this logical? Let me tell you, my loves, anything we do, yes, be logical about it, but don't be realistic, right? What I mean by that is dream big and go for it, right? Dream big and go for it, because you just never know what you create until you take that leap of faith. And so I also had to work through, who do I think I am that I can do this? And is anyone resonating with this? Self-doubt, uncertainty, lack of confidence, disbelief in making it. Like, am I really going to make this? Am this really going to happen for me? And when I'm on discovery calls with people, that's actually quite a big one, is, can I actually make this happen? Because, you just don't know what you don't know. And I'm like, yeah, you absolutely have the gifts. And it does help to have a community of people, a mentor who deeply believes in you and sees the possibilities. And it's like, that's a huge thing, right? Like, if my mentor didn't believe in me, that's not the person to hire. You need to hire somebody who completely believes in you and has experience to really know what they're talking about, so that you can be raised to that next level. Asian parents, oh my gosh, can we talk about that, right? So in my culture, your value is really looks from the inside, outside, right? Like the status, the titles. No wonder I had such a huge issue, right? So I really had to risk disappointment and disapproval from my parents. And I've had some really big stories around that. But I and to colleagues as a psychologist, it's kind of like we're taught to be like networking with each other and things like that. But then it's like, ooh, if psychologist is out of line, we're supposed to connect with each other and just call each other out. But also, then there's a reporting, because I've even talked to really high level psychologists, and they're, and this is maybe not every psychologist's perception. So I'm just speaking from experience. So please take that into context. But, psychologists who've been on TV and it's like, oh my God, if I don't want the public to have the wrong perception and then report me in. Like, we have that fear. And I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to be under something that feels like I'm being parented all the time and I have to ask for permission to run a retreat somewhere that's not in my province. Like, no. So that license was really holding me back from my fullest authentic self-expression, how I really want to show up and who I really want to serve and how I want to serve. So that was another thing that pushed me over the fence to be like, no, I'm going all in and betting on myself. Like, there's, I can't go look back. And people, I remember would ask, what if you fail? And I'm like, you know what it feels like? When you have a baby and they're growing, can you put a baby or a toddler back into your vagina? No. So that was my answer, because that's seriously how I felt. I was like, I just birthed this thing in the world. I can't retract. Like, are you kidding me? I'm on a momentum. So as you can see, my confidence grew as I hired my coach, and then just kept going, kept the momentum going, kept taking action, kept making mistakes, kept learning from those mistakes. Learn from your mistakes, mindset. So it's like looking at things in hindsight, but instead of just looking at things like 2020, take the lessons from them and move forward with it. Okay, that has been incredible. Taking personal, radical responsibility, number one. Biggest thing, I'm not a victim to my circumstances. Okay, life is not happening to me. Life is happening for me, through me, even in situations that I don't desire. Then I'm looking at it from a soul level. I'm looking at it from a co-creation level, right? Don't gaslight yourself, but look at what is your part in it. How is this a pattern in this lifetime or maybe past lives, right? Look at that. And really understanding moving forward, how are you going to show up differently? That's really important. You are because like when we are moving into each year, each level in our business, you're becoming a different version of yourself. That's what it requires, right? I am not the same person I was 6 years ago. Okay. I'm not even the same person last year, right? There's more growth to happen. And so, I had that first year was a lot of mindset work. So when I got to a point where because I had never, I was still a psychologist when I started my self-love coaching business, and I never meant to retire, to be honest. Okay. And I recognized that internal confusion and conflict, and I didn't even know who I like would refer to where. Like it became that like confusing for me. So then that was confusing messaging for other people. And so I remember my coach saying, okay, well, it sounds like being a psychologist is no longer aligned with you. And I had to like surrender and be radically honest, to be like, yes, I agree. Because at this point, so this would have been, I would have been in my business, my coaching business. So because I built it very quickly because I speak and sell. Remember, I was trained to do that. So I carried that over, speaking and selling, which is what I coach my clients on to this day. So coaching and selling. And that's how I grew my business very quickly. And so from there, it then became so clear. I set a date. So you still need strategy. So when people are, coming to me and approach me and saying, I still have my full-time gig and I want to, grow my side hustle and then eventually like leave this gig and let's 9 to 5 and go full-time. Perfect. I would never say quit that and then go full in. Everybody's circumstances are different, depends on, a lot of different factors, but have strategy. That's really important. So by the time I announced my retirement, actually with a big party, it was like a rite of passage for me. This was like a coming out party. I was announcing I was retiring. I had a whole day. I paid for everything. So I rented a beautiful conference room at a hotel, invited 200 entrepreneurial women. There were about 130 that came, and a whole day of me facilitating women, showcasing my skills as a life and business coach, a self-love life and business coach. My tagline at the time was "Unleash Your Inner Wonder Woman," and it was so much fun being in service, right? And I sold from the stage my first business mastermind. And so it was like, I believe I forked in $8,000. So I was at a place where I could, do that because of my previous career. And then what I've been building, also my self-love coaching business. And so again, taking the risk, because I don't know if I'm going to, break even, maybe lose money, but it really is about looking at, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. And I profited, sold seats to my mastermind. I was so excited. So it was in that sense, quote unquote, successful event. And so, again, bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. That's really huge. And look at the strategies. Look at your dreams and then look at your strategies. It's really important, right? 5D and then ground in 3D. Really important. And I want to just let all of you know, remember, so for those of you who are like, well, I'm in my first year of business or in my second year of business, and I'm so scared to like put myself out there like that. I'm not you, Roz. No, you're not. I get that a lot. People are like, well, I'm not you, Roz. No, you're not. You're you. You're right. And so you have your own gifts, your own experiences. And remember, I have like up to this point, like 10 years plus of being a psychologist and being a facilitator and holding space. So I already have those skills. So the investment I put in myself is bigger because I know what my capabilities are. And so for you, you're going to do it on your own scale, right? So maybe if you're just starting out, but you have lots of experience, your level and opportunities are increased versus somebody who's just new in their skills, need more time to experience, practice clients, things like that. You're going to have different results. That's the reality, right? So one of my pet peeves is maybe not pet peeves. One of the things I think that we can get really seduced by in marketing is when there's no context around it, right? Like new coaches thinking they can make 10K in the first month. No, my clients that make 10K in the first month have years of experience. First month of working with me. Okay, so it's because they have had years of experience, just like I did, right? Before I started my self-love coaching business. And so you're taking all of those gifts and you're just applying the strategies and things like that, and the energetics, of course, right? But let me tell you, there have been times after that, there have been times where I have sold from at events and I have failed. And meaning it went sideways. It felt awkward for myself and others. It just felt like this lady's salesy. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed about those times. But I'm also grateful because it really showed me what I would never do again. And it really showed me script versus embodying. Okay, so this is another lesson. So I'm really love teaching soulful selling right now because it is all about embodiment of your work, of your energy, versus rehearsing a script, a sales script, or whatever kind of script, and then you're like delivering that. So you can give the same script to two different people, right? And one person will deliver a certain way, and then the other person will deliver a certain way. What's the difference between the person that succeeds and the other person that doesn't? It's because the person that succeeds, meaning get sales or whatever that may be, but gets the results they want, is they're embodied in their energy and they're embodied in that selling, right? The other person is just scripting. We can feel that difference. We can feel the energy when there's depth, when there's authenticity, when there's like an invitation energy. And it's the pulling in of. So that's a real difference. And be gentle with yourself. When you're first starting, it makes sense that you're going to be scripting a bit. Okay. And that's okay. That's okay. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel clunky. That is a-okay. Give yourself that grace. All right. Don't beat yourself up and be like, well, shit, I'm not Roz, or I'm not so-and-so. I'll never get there. Like, be careful about your self-talk. This is what in the beginning, I'm telling you, it's mindset work and it's also time and experience. All right. I have more than enough, can count on more than one hand how many times I have had those awkward sales. Okay. So please know that, we don't start out in this like, whoa place. In that first year, later in that year, I hired a team. So I hired a VA who really supported me in the back end and the systems and things like that, create graphics, so I'm the visionary and the VA supported me. I'm not a very good planner, so I'm going to admit that. And to this day, it's still a muscle that I've been building. I'm a multi-six-figure business, but goodness gracious, I know where my gap is. It's like my strengths turn up too loud, and this goes for everybody, is your weakness. So planning is something that I've been working at, and it's still a practice because as a channeler, I'm like, here comes, spirits are like, okay, but I need to do this now. That's what it feels like in a manifesting generator and in human design. It's just like, like all these things. So I just have to use my discernment. I remember my first business coach was like, Roz, you're like a toddler in a toy store and you want everything right now. I'm like, I know I do. She's like, no, simplify, focus. I'm like, okay. So focus. That's actually my word this year. It's still like, I still have to have that internal discipline and use discernment about, does this feel aligned? Yes. Okay. But is it aligned for me right now? What do I need to release so that I can simplify my focus to get to where I want to go? Even Brendan Bouchard, his book, which, High Performers, I'm looking at it because I have it here. High performance habits, right? Like he talks about simplifying. Like most of us don't have a time management issue. We have an energy management focus issue. Resonates, right? So it's a really good book, by the way. All right, I'm gonna fast forward. I have like pages of notes. I'm sure I could do like another episode on this. Um, Remember, build your email list. So that's really what that, like, it's always that, but you're going to have different strategies as you grow. You're going to have more ideas. Lots of, when you're first starting out in business, speaking and selling doesn't change, but like really, if you have the opportunity to go to in-person events and meet people in person, that's phenomenal. If you have an opportunity to be a vendor, really be a speaker as well. Okay, speaker and a vendor. Because you also can build your, email list and things like that. As a speaker, you can do that. But I always had a booth and made sure so that people could do I had a little mini quiz and assessment so that people can fill out where they need support on and then check off if they want a discovery call. Literally, that's how I built my business. And I still do, speaking and selling. This is why I teach my clients, masterclass and selling, right? Virtual or in person or whatever it is. But that's part of the formula, the bold method, which, by the way, if you're curious, we go deeper into that in my masterclass, which you can find in the show notes, how to boldly and unapologetically market your coaching business and attract full body as clients. All right. And so really, that's huge. I've also recently been doing I love meeting people, but you also have to be using your discernment about your energy and your time and the people that you are open to meeting, right? So I teach people how to create content on social media that converts, that brings in more leads and then converts them into clients. But there's a process in that, okay? And so what I've been also doing is getting on calls with new Facebook friends, new Instagram friends that I feel energetically like, in the exchange in the DMs has been really amazing. And some of these have turned into discovery calls, not on purpose. It just, they had been checking out my stuff. And some of them have turned into me coming into their audience and speaking. And some of them are turning into beautiful collaborations like referral partners, joint ventures. Again, authentic relationships is key, right? Some of them turned into clients for Akashic Soul Sessions. And clients for my bigger program. So it's been really amazing. Okay. So don't knock that. I think and of course, I wouldn't say do that all the time. I know it's about really checking with your energy, really making sure you have the energetic capacity and build that into your business to network. Network is so important. What we should be doing and focusing on is putting ourselves out there. Like you're the one that creates the content, the speaking, the networking, and then service deliveries and sales, right? Those are the things to focus on. Everything else can be delegated. All right, so be mindful about your time and your energy. Whew, let me fast forward. 2020. So this was the year my business beautifully expanded. I birthed Client Attraction Academy, which is my low tickets now program, signature program. It's a 12-week program to help you learn how to client attract and soulfully sell. And that was also the year 2020 was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Personally, it was me doing a lot of inner work to go, wow, my tools personally are because I love connections, I value relationships, and now they're taken, that's being taken away with the social distancing. And so it was an invitation for me to get to know myself internally more, my introverted self. And that's a year I also birthed my light language to the world. I got gifted light language in 2019, but I didn't know what to do with it. So one of my soulmate clients at the time, Aurora Light, also known as Casey Belize Night, she and I were trying to help her distill her 5D cosmic energy into a 3D messaging. And then I was like, wait, I'm your ideal client. And so I hired her to help me understand my light language and how it can be in service to the world with it. And that was the thing. Like, I had to work through more shit. Like, oh my God, like, or is this going to discredit me as a business coach? Is this going to discredit, like, are people going to think I'm weird? But if anything, it's been one of the more magnetic things, because here's the lesson. I'm being so authentic, fully expressed. And those people who have been coming in are people who are really drawn to the light language because it's speaking to them. It's a resonance, right? Light language is language that only your soul can understand. And then if you've been listening to me for a while, or following me, you know that I provide that on these shows too. This was also the year where I experimented with Facebook ads, and I put 8K in US. Woo! Okay, let me tell you this. I don't regret it. And I haven't really did the nitty gritty. I probably broke even. But the biggest learning lesson and the mistake I made was I didn't test my funnels. I did with my organic markets, with my warm audience, sorry. I didn't test it to see if it would work on them. And we just put it out there. I hire a team. Because I don't know. I don't do Facebook ads myself. No way. That stuff overwhelms me. And some people like to learn it and know what's happening. I think that's a good idea. At the time, I made the decision, I'm just going to hire a team. And it was people that I've been working with for a while, and I trusted, and somebody I've been following for 6 years, and saw her results and her client results. I was like, all right, she knows what she's talking about. But at the end of the day, again, personal accountability is I didn't think about testing it. So always test things organically, because I do believe there's a place to pay for ads, but yeah, test first. So since then, I have not done Facebook ads. I'm probably a little gun shy, so to be real honest. But also, I don't really see much success for other people in Facebook ads. There's definitely strategies and things like that. For me, in the place that I am in my business, I'd rather hire support and team and support for so I have team that helps me with social engagement and looks for aligned people to connect with. Okay. And so that's been really helpful. So for the social engagement piece, I'd rather do that. And then it's me taking it over and actually me building those authentic relationships still. I deeply get so much joy connecting with people. Okay. So there's different strategies. But really, I think that's what also really has been helpful, or the greatest service, the foundation of building authentic relationships, because again, you never know if these are going to be not just friends. It's kind of like dating, right? But they could become referral partners, collabs, your cheerleaders, that will support and bring in more people for you, and you work together, or it could be you just all these different beautiful things. So relationships first, people first, over strategy, over anything. Okay. It's combining it, but we all know what it feels like when we're just a number. In fact, I get really effing annoyed when I get those cold DMs. There is no cold DMing in my programs. Are you kidding me? And I can tell, you haven't even looked at my shit. You don't even know anything about me. You're selling something that I actually am an expert in. I mean, that just might sound ego, but weird. My whole piece is feel being seen, heard, and acknowledged, right? And here's a tip, client attraction tip, take your time to look at people's, if this is on social media, take your time to get to know people before you approach them, right? And say, hey, and then make comments. If you actually want to ask yourself, do I actually want to get to know this person, right? And then why, right? Don't just look at the person oh, there can be a client. Are you kidding me? Don't do that. Look at it more so from a place of, man, this person I would be friends with. This person sounds awesome. I love their energy. Come from that place. Let me see what's possible. Let me explore, right? And from there, from that place of love, from that place of curiosity, wanting to get to know this person, that's what matters. So come from that place. Because even when people will say, cold DM me, but I see that they've made an effort to get to know me. They've looked at my stuff. They are genuinely commenting on something, and then they're offering something. I'm way more yeah, thank you, right? I see you, what you can do for me. Let's chat, right? And that's the approach too. Okay. So what else do I want to say? Then I outgrew my business model in late 2020. I was running multiple client attraction academy groups and from like quite a few one-on-one clients, which at the time were like very high ticket clients. And so my capacity to really hold space for all of this actually felt like, I don't feel like I'm at my best version. So I actually ended my last client attraction live in March, I believe, after that March group in 2021, and just took some time to just go inward a little bit more so I can build my capacity. I knew my vision was to, what I have today, build Soul Ascension Business Academy, which is a year-long program, group and one-on-one hybrid. And then I have expert coaches supporting myself and my clients. So I have a social media coach, a copywriting coach, and an energy clearing coach. And I saw this vision, but I didn't have the capacity. So for me, it's really important to have that integrity, right? I want to have that capacity, build it, and then slowly move into it. And for me, not everybody is this learner, but for me, I am such an experiential learner that I need to be part of something as a client of what I want to roll out. Because again, take what resonates, tweak what doesn't, aligned with my alchemy. And so, of course, as Spirit guided me, I came across a program like this. The coaches are different though. It was more of a mindset coach and a copywriting coach who were supporting clients in the group. And just really powerful, because then I could see what this and feel and experience as a client, what this is. I'm like, oh, I like this. And it was all about evergreen masterclass, and then bringing people in and selling in the DM. So again, I take what resonates, tweak what doesn't, and really loving it. And then now, I after that year-long program, I actually overlaps a little bit. I met my current business coach locally at Manifest Tour, and it was so beautiful. Like, I mean, we were friends first, and then I just started seeing her content, content that converts, because I was like, oh my gosh, who is this lady? Ooh, we got similar energy. We met because we were both wearing our diamonds on our foreheads and just like, hitting it off, and just so beautiful. And so from there, I wouldn't have been able to hire her because it wouldn't have been a fit prior to me joining this big group coaching program and putting out Soul Ascension. So I put out Soul Ascension early in January 2022. And it's been really beautiful. I've been loving this group and how it's been. And so now it's like I have my high ticket and I got my low ticket. I can sell with ease. And it feels like people just keep coming in. And there's no sense of like, oh yeah, I need to close this client. I mean, I've learned that years ago. I was really good at closing clients because my very first business coach, was specialized in sales. She was more in a masculine energy. So of course, just learning that. And so I got over the years to be like using my own discernment more. And you get to a place in the first year, yes, it's okay. You want to like take on more people, and you don't know if these people are going to be a fit sometimes. So you're just trying on so you can see that's totally okay. I can see my growth. And I have now the capacity to use my discernment more over the years. I learned I'm getting clear my messaging. And so from there, it's just been beautiful to increase my own capacity, which then brings in more opportunities, more clients, more money, right? That beautiful impact that gets created, the referrals, the joint ventures. So please know it takes time. One of my biggest things that I said I was going to talk about is, I think it's a real problem, is there's that quick and fast. I sort of touched on it, right? Quick and fast, kind of like life hacks, business hacks, things like that. And just very like, actually, you know what? It's in the slowing down and the spaciousness of being able to hold and wait for that full body yes thing. That client that feels like a full body yes, that coach that feels like a full body yes, that opportunity that feels like a full body yes. If it's not, just really feel into like why. And sort of like, okay, there's something here though. There's something here that I want to create or I want to be part of or whatever that is. And verbalize that, get clear for yourself. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have so many more things to talk about. I'm going to talk about the 3 mistakes. I'll do a Facebook Live about it or some sort of content about it. So obviously not on here. So stay tuned. Follow me, Bold Sexy Warrior on Instagram, Facebook here. You're already here, YouTube. And I will, if you're not on my email list, get on it. Rosalyn, just get on the masterclass, okay? But I'm going to talk about 3 mistakes that I didn't even touch on today. And I knew I would run out of time in my lives. So you'll just have to follow me and stay tuned for the next part. But I just want to say thank you for being here. Let me know what resonated the most with you. If you are desiring to invest in a coach, and you're resonating with my energy, you want to know, what that would look like to work with me, check out that masterclass first. Feel into the full body yes or full body no, right? And notes, it's in the show notes. And just really like, if it's like, yeah, it's moving into a full body yes, I'm curious. Let's get on the call. There's no obligations. Let's chat. Let's see how I can best serve and support you. All right, my love. So I'm going to just activate this all with a light language activation. Breathing in and out. Thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And please do feel free to share this.